inside. Murphy shooting, save a rebound on the view.
Hey everyone, this is Casey. You are watching the Red Rubber Duckwind All Sports Network, and this is my final video of the Mass College Football season preview between me, Red5478, and Illogical Canadian. Today we're going to go over the Big 12 Conference. Now the Big 12 took a massive hit with Texas and Oklahoma going down south to the SEC. However, with the implosion of the Pac-12, they were able to collect Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah to make it 16 teams in the Big 12. I know, it doesn't make any sense. Despite the two powerhouses leaving, the fireworks should still be at an all-time high. Let's see what the 16 squads have to offer, shall we? In their last 3 years in the Pac-12, Arizona has gone from getting stuck in the cement in the basement to conference contenders. However, the main architect, Jedd Fisch, is going to Washington this season. So Brett Brennan will be the new head coach as the Wildcats go into unfamiliar territory. One of the nation's top pass combinations will return in quarterback Noah Fifita and receiver Tyroa McMillan. In the backfield, they brought in a couple transfers in Quali Conley IV from San Jose State and Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt from New Mexico. Lineman Jordan Morgan is gone, but 3 starters do return to the offensive line. While the offense has small holes to patch up, the defense is of the most concern. Linebacker Jacob Monell, cornerback Tacario Davis, and defensive backs Traden Stukes and Gunnar Maldonado return as headliners. The reason for the concern for the defense, however, is the replacement of the entire defensive line. The good news is that another San Jose State transfer in Trey Smith looks to help on the edge. Let's see if Arizona can continue the magic from one season ago. Kenny Dillingham's debut for the Sun Devils couldn't have been worse at 3-9. However, there are some people saying that Arizona State could make noise this year. They may not be contending for the Big 12 title, but people are saying that they can go to a bowl game. Jaden Rashada is heading off to Georgia, so redshirt freshman and Michigan State transfer Sam Leavitt will likely be the replacement at quarterback. The return of Ben Coleman and Emmett Boyle from injuries will provide better protection for Leavitt. Running backs Kate Scatibo, Alton McCaskill, and Raleek Brown provide sparks for the ground game. At receiver, Jordan Tyson is expected to have a breakout year. The defense only has 3 starters returning, but the handful of transfers coming in should make an impact. Safety Shamari Simmons and lineman Prince Dorba and Clayton Smith are the top returners, while linebacker Keyshawn Elliott from New Mexico State and defensive back Cole Martin are key pickups. The Sun Devils may not make it to the promised land quite yet, but people are saying that they should be out of the couple stages of hell this year. Ladies and gentlemen, we once again have another coach with their ass on the line. Dave Aranda's squad had an epic collapse at the end of last season, losing 5 straight. Aranda is trying everything within his power to try to keep his job. He brought in former Texas State coach Jake Spiavedel to oversee the offense, and these guys finished tied for last in the Big 12 in scoring and struggled to convert third downs and score red zone touchdowns. Quarterback DeQuan Finn is coming in from Toledo to provide a spark in the passing game and the running game. The team's top 4 wide receivers are back, including Monterey Baldwin and running backs Richard Reese and Dominic Richardson. While the offense looks to give up less than 34 sacks, Aranda takes over play calling duties on the defensive side. 7 starters are back, including linebacker Matt Jones and cornerback Caden Jenkins. The million-dollar question is, how will the defensive line respond to having their top 2 pass rushers graduate and 2 interior linemen having to medically retire last season? Aranda, you better hope this plan works out to a T. Last year, the Cougars started its first year in the Big 12 off strong, going 4-1. Then the Cougars would proceed to fall off a cliff and would lose 6 of their last 7 and fail to make a bowl game. Unfortunately, this year probably won't be any better. If it's going to, then Kalani Sitake is going to have to wake up both sides of the ball. Offensively, the Cougars averaged only 20.4 points per contest last season. Now, the battle for the field general spot is going to be between Jake Retzlaff, Baylor and South Florida transfer Jerry Bohannon, and Utah State transfer McKay Hillstead. The receiving core is solid, and running back LJ Martin is bound to have a breakout year. Last season, the defense could hardly get any sacks with 11 all season, and they allowed 34.6 points a game, and they struggled to stop the run with 203.7 yards a game given up. Sitake adds a pair of impact transfers from Weber State and linebacker Jack Kelly and defensive back Marquis Collins. Defensive end Tyler Batty will be as dangerous as ever underneath the Big 12's radar. Either the Cougars are going to wake up, or Sitake suffers the same potential fate of a coach from one segment ago. When people say that the Buffaloes took a step forward last season, what do they really mean by that? Yeah, they won 3 more games last season than the one prior, but they could have won more if they weren't focused on their egos. Coach Prime knows the flaws, hopefully, and he can still lead the Buffaloes to the promised land. The offense still has quarterback Shedeur Sanders and receiver/defensive back Travis Hunter. Coach Prime added 10 offensive linemen through the portal. Considering that they gave up 56 sacks last year, that was a pretty wise choice. Even though there is a new offensive coordinator in Pat Shurmur, this offense should still be as dangerous as ever. However, the defense is still the biggest question mark. 36.3 points per game given up, and the 110th best rushing defense in the nation won't cut it. Robert Livingston is the new guy in charge of the defense, and there are a bunch of transfers on this side as well. Lineman BJ Green, Dayon Hayes, and Sam Okunlola were huge pickups for Coach Prime. Now, please, I'm begging you, talk the talk, but also walk the walk at the same time. Willie Fritz had a successful run at Tulane. Now he has to take over a Cougar squad that looks to go through a transition period. Donovan Smith is back at quarterback after averaging 269.1 total yards a game last year. He will be surrounded by a variety of skill players, including running back Parker Jenkins, receiver Joseph Manjack IV, and transfer tight end Malik Carr from Michigan State. Smith missed spring practice due to shoulder surgery, so the timing of the offense under new offensive coordinator Kevin Barbie will be a work in progress. Only one starter will return on the offensive line with Tank Jenkins. The defense will also have a new coordinator in Shia Wood. There are only 2 returning starters on defense with linebacker Jamal Morris and free safety AJ Hulsey. There are a whole lot of transfers as well that can make a lot of noise. The Cougars need them since they gave up 31.5 points a game last season. Masterpieces take time, and with Fritz, hopefully it doesn't take much. The Cyclones started off slow at 2-3, but would go 5-3 down the stretch. Last year's experience should turn into production this year with Matt Campbell's squad looking at possibly a Big 12 title game. Quarterback Rocco Brett returns after an incredible debut year, throwing for 3,120 yards and 23 touchdowns. Receivers Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel are 2 of the best in the Big 12, and running back Abu Sama III had a surge in performance in the later stages of the season. Can Taylor Moser use this squad at their full potential? Only time will tell. As for the defense, it has always been near the top of the Big 12 on defense under Jack Heacock. 9 starters will return, including safety Jeremiah Cooper. Lineman Dominique Orange is an underrated cog up front, and Miles Purchase can become one of the Big 12's top corners. This is a Big 12 that is in transition. Can Iowa State take advantage? We shall see. You've been living under a rock if you haven't seen the improvement that the Jayhawks have had last year. Lance Leipold has his team ready for their best chance at a Big 12 title yet. Jalon Daniels is back at quarterback after recovering from a back injury. He looks to lead the high-flying offense featuring running back Devin Neal and receivers Lawrence Arnold and Quentin Skinner. Jeff Grimes needs to retool the front, but Texas A&M transfer Bryce Foster should help, and Logan Brown will return from injury. The defense is also vastly improving, and they have to take a giant step forward if they want to reach the Big 12 championship. Michigan State transfer Bai Jobe and incoming freshman DJ Warner were added to aid Jeremy Robinson off the edge. In the secondary, cornerbacks Kobe Bryant and Romello Dotson returned to anchor a pass defense that only allowed 11 passing touchdowns in Big 12 games. The people of Lawrence are looking for hardware in a sport other than basketball. No pressure. Kansas may be in a good spot, but Kansas State is getting just a little more attention. The slate is in their favor with a solid roster, and now Chris Kleiman looks to make it back to a Big 12 title game. Will Howard is off to Ohio State, so Avery Johnson will take over the role of field general. The 1-2 punch of DJ Gildens and Dylan Edwards provides a deep backfield for Johnson to use. On the O-line, they lose guard Cooper Beebe, but they will keep 3 starters. The receiving corps loses Phillip Brooks. No, not that Phillip Brooks. That Phillip Brooks. And tight end Ben Sinnott. Therefore, Jace Brown, Keegan Johnson, and Jadon Jackson need to step up. 7 starters returned to a defense that held teams to 21 points a game last year. Austin Moore returns as one of the best linebackers in the Big 12, and in a secondary that ranked second in the conference in pass efficiency defense last year, safeties VJ Payne and Marquez Siegel and cornerback Jacob Parrish return. Brandon Mott and Uso Somolo anchor a strong defensive line. Kansas State is a contender on paper, but let's see what happens when they play 12 games. After going 2-2, Mike Gundy was able to rally his squad to winning 7 of their last 8 and to the title of Big 12 runners-up. The Cowboys can return to the title game, and they bring the most returning starters in the Big 12 with a whopping 20 returning players. Ollie Gordon II returns as the best running back in college football and is behind an O-line that should finish in the nation's top 10. Receivers Brennan Presley and Rashad Owens are back, but Alan Bowman needs to bake less than 14 turnovers and be more consistent. Gundy hopes that experience translates to success for the defense. New coordinator Brian Nardo couldn't garner any of it from last season, allowing 28.6 points a game, creating a mediocre pass rush in conference games, and finishing 12th in the Big 12 in pass efficiency defense. There's no lack of talent with the linebackers. Colin Oliver and Nick Martin, and safety Kendall Daniels is becoming a rising star. The Cowboys can return to the Big 12 title game. And guess what? There's no Texas or Bedlam to stop them. Last year, TCU went from national championship contenders to not even making a bowl game. I called Ball State one of the biggest mystery boxes in the MAC, but the Horned Frogs might be the biggest mystery box in the entire nation. There's still plenty of talent for them to get over the hump into the top half of the Big 12. New defensive coordinator and former Boise State head coach Andy Avalos is a great hire to improve the defense that allowed nearly 30 points in Big 12 play. They couldn't stop the pass, and they surrendered 20 plays of 40-plus yards last season. In terms of linebacker, Johnny Hodges, Cal transfer Caleb Erms-Orr, and Nnamdi Ablazar should strengthen that position. However, Demonic Williams is gone, so new faces will have to help the secondary. The offense had a huge fall from grace from 38.5 points per conference game in 2022 to 28.8 last season. The main concern is the O-line with one returning starter. Quarterback Josh Hoover showed promise late in the season, and the receiving corps is stout with Savion Williams, J.P. Richardson, and Boise State transfer Eric McAllister. 1,000-yard rusher Imani Bailey will be replaced with Cam Cook. Let's see if Sonny Dykes can get the train back on its rails. Back-to-back years of 7-6 won't cut it for the fans in Lubbock. Those 3 one-score losses in September came back to bite him, and now Joey McGuire looks to get past unlucky 7. Only 8 starters return, but 2 of them are deadly weapons on offense in quarterback Brian Morton and running back Taj Brooks. 3 wide receivers from last season need to be replaced, but true freshmen Micah Hudson and transfers Caleb Douglas from Florida and Josh Kelly from Washington State will fill in these roles. Tight end and Arizona State transfer Jalen Conyers should make an impact. Defense has always been a problem, and coordinator Tim DeRuyter will try to generate progress. However, only 4 starters make their return on defense. Linebackers Jacob Rodriguez and Ben Roberts form a terrifying duo, and Rice transferred to Braylon Carroll will help in the D-line, and safety CJ Baskerville will be the leader of a new secondary. The Red Raiders have enough talent to win more than 7 games. Do they use it? Out of the 4 newcomers to the Big 12 last season, the Knights were the only ones to make a bowl game. 9 starters will return to Orlando, as well as a couple transfers making their arrival. If all goes well, the Knights could go to the championship game. Gus Malzahn created a new dynamic offense with Arkansas transfer quarterback KJ Jefferson, and he'll be joined by wide receiver Kobe Hudson and running back RJ Harvey. 2 starters return to the offensive line, including left tackle Amari Knight, making a push for honors. While scoring points shouldn't be a problem, preventing points is a different story. The defense allowed nearly 30 points in Big 12 contests, and they could not stop the run. Ted Roof is the new defensive signal caller, and he will have Malachi Lawrence, Ricky Barber, and Lee Hunter up front, but the transfers everywhere else need to step up so the team can reach the top half of the Big 12. UCF could be a sleeper team in this brand new Big 12. However, everything has to click for that to happen. The Utes would have three-peated as and become the last Pac-12 champions if it wasn't for injuries to quarterback Cameron Rising and tight end Brant Kuth. Despite that, Kyle Whittingham guided the Utes to 8-5. Rising and Kuth are back this season, and they should be cornerstones to one of the most improved offenses in college football. The arrival of USC transfer Dorian Singer means another weapon for Rising, and the line should be among the best in the Big 12 thanks to Spencer Fano at left tackle. Rising will have options behind him in running backs Mekhi Bernard and Jalen Glover. The defense will be as strong as ever, and 8 starters will make their return. Linebacker Kareem Reed headlines the second level, and the secondary brings in Georgia Tech transfer Keenan Johnson, Alakai Gilman from Stanford, and Cameron Calhoun from Michigan. There is a whole lot of hype in Salt Lake City. Let's see if they can live up to it. Neil Brown saved his ass from the hot seat, going 9-4, and 13 starters will return for the 2024 season. They are in pot 1 for a spot in the Big 12 title game, but now everyone knows how West Virginia will function, so there's nowhere to hide. Quarterback Garrett Green returns after his breakout year, and he will be joined by C.J. Donaldson and Jaheim White in the backfield. Zach Frazier will be gone, but 3 starters will return up front. Rising star Traylon Ray will be a huge target at receiver. The defense looks to improve after finishing 10th in the Big 12 in pass efficiency defense and giving up 6.1 yards of play in the Big 12 last year. Brown brought in transfers for all 3 levels, including cornerbacks Garnett Hollis Jr. from Northwestern and Aiden Garnes from Duquesne, and lineman TJ Jackson from Troy. Linebacker Trey Lathan is on the rise, and safety Aubrey Burks will be pushing for honors. The Mountaineers are climbing a steep mountain, but so far they are managing. Will it continue? We shall see. Okay, now let's get into some predictions. Nope, not going there. Nope. Not home. No, I'm not answering the door. You can knock on the door all you want, not answering. No, I don't care if you can hear me or not. When I say I'm not home, I'm not home. Oh, for God's sake. Who in the blue hell are you? I'm Cincinnati. You skipped over us. Okay, look. I'm not the one who wrote the script. Somebody else wrote the script and then give it to me. Take it out on them. Oh, God. Okay, look. I simply forgot. Look, I'm sorry. Oh, God. No! Ah! Ow! Ow! Get this bear cat off of me! Ah! Ah! Someone call animal control! That's not animal control!
It's always me, isn't it, Duck? I'm always somehow, what is the word? Getting in your way, telling you what to do. Guess what? I'm not telling you shit. I'm just taking this part over. Because, you see, even though I am a die-hard Buckeye, I am a sturdy son of Cincinnati. Therefore, I got a little bit of respect for the Cincinnati Bearcats. And the fact that you forgot them, just because they're one of the newer teams in the Big 12, shame on you. Shame on you. Now, let's talk about some Bearcat football, shall we? Bearcats are fresh off of a year of hard knocks and new coaches after Luke Fickell left for Wisconsin last offseason. And you would think that after waiting so long to get into the Big 12, the growth period would be a little bit longer. Now, they ain't going to be no world beater this year. But granted, they did have one of the top rushing offenses in the nation last year with Corey Kinner and the whole offensive line back. You're going to have more of the same here in Cincinnati. Brendan Sorsby comes in looking to make a name for himself after leaving the hell that is Bloomington, Indiana, and has a fairly decent core of wide receivers at his disposal, including tight end transfer Joe Royer. The offense will cause some trouble for the Big 12 foes, but the defense is a complete what-if scenario. With only 3 starters coming back and a new offensive coordinator in Tyson Veet, at best, you're going to be in Shootout City all year, which, considering the conference you're in, this might actually be a good thing. It might show a sign that the Bearcats are finally starting to play up to the big boys. So, you ask me, Bearcats should be able to achieve at least a 500 record this season. Good hopes for them. But for now, I must turn it back over to that rubber duck son of a bitch, red rubber duck one. And if you don't mind, come follow me on my own YouTube channel as I break down the Big Ten here in a few days. Thanks for letting me hack your shit, Duck. Now have it back.
Okay, went to the doctor, don't have any rabies, so can we please get into some predictions now? The Big 12 has plenty of options for champions. Even without Texas and Oklahoma, Big 12 football should still be just as exciting. As for my top 2, I'm going with Kansas State and Oklahoma State, with the Big 12 going to last year's runners-up, the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Without Texas and Oklahoma to stop them, this should be their time. Now, will the football gods agree, or will they create more chaos? So I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Of course, this is part 7 of the 9 video series between me, Red5478, and Illogical Canadian, 2 good friends of mine. And we will be releasing our final videos in 3 straight days starting today. Of course, I just went over the Big 12. You can also check out my videos on the Mid-American Conference and the American Athletic Conference. Illogical will be going over the SEC tomorrow. And you can also check out his Conference USA and ACC videos. And Red will finish us off with the Big 10 on Saturday. And you can also check out his videos on the Sun Belt as well as the Mountain West and Pac-12. Or, again, whatever is left of it. But that's going to do it for me. Be sure to stay tuned because I will be having video projects coming out very soon. Please feel free to check out the community post for that. But I'm going to link Red 5478 and Illogical Canadians channels in the description down below. And I even created a playlist where you can watch all 9 of our videos when they come out. But as for me, that's going to do it for me. I'm Casey. You've been watching Red Rubber Duck on All Sports Network. Please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. And until we meet again, see you guys in the next one. Take care.